Well, I'm so glad you decided to join me again today. We are getting very close to the end of this book. There are 4 more chapters left. I'll read 2 today and then 2 tomorrow. So, Edward had been broken and now he is fixed and he's living in a doll shop. Let's see what happens next. Chapter 24. And so Edward Tulane was mended, put together again, cleaned and polished, dressed in an elegant suit, and placed on a high shelf for display. From this shelf, Edward could see the whole shop, Lucius Clark's workbench, and the windows to the outside world, and the door that the customers used to enter and leave. From this shelf, Edward saw Bryce open the door one day and stand in the doorway, the silver harmonica in his left hand flashing brilliantly in the sunlight as it flooded through the windows.
"Young sir," said Lucius, "I am afraid that we made a deal."
"Well, can't I just see him?" asked Bryce. He wiped his hand across his nose, and the gesture filled Edward with a terrible feeling of love and loss. I just want to look at him." Lucius Clark sighed.
All right, you may look," he said. "You may look, and then you must go and not come back. I cannot have you in my shop every day, mooning over what you have lost."
"Yes, sir," said Bryce. Lucius sighed again, and he got up from his workbench, and he went to Edward's shelf, and he picked him up and held him so that Bryce could see him. "Hey there, Jangles," said Bryce. "You look real good. Last time I seen you, you looked terrible. Your head was all busted in and..."
"He is put together again,"
said Lucius.
"as I promised you he would be."
Bryce nodded, and then he wiped his hand across his nose. "Well, can I just hold him?" he asked.
"No,"
said Lucius. Bryce nodded again.
"Tell him goodbye," said Lucius Clark. "He is repaired, he has been saved. Now you must tell him goodbye."
"Goodbye," said Bryce.
"Oh, don't go," thought Edward. "I won't be able to bear it if you go." "Now you must leave," said Lucius Clark.
"Yes, sir," said Bryce. But he stood without moving, just looking at Edward.
"Go," said Lucius Clark. "Go." "Please," thought Edward, "don't."
Bryce turned and walked through the door of the doll mender's shop. The door closed and the bell tinkled. And Edward was alone. Chapter 25. Technically, of course, he was not alone. Lucius Clark's shop was filled with dolls, lady dolls and baby dolls, dolls with eyes that opened and closed, and dolls with painted-on eyes, dolls dressed in queen outfits, and dolls wearing sailor suits. Edward had never cared for dolls. He found them annoying and self-centered and twittery and vain. This opinion was immediately reinforced by his first shelf mate. It was a china doll with green glass eyes and red lips and dark brown hair. She was wearing a green satin dress that fell down to her knees. "Ew, what are you?" she said in a very high-pitched voice when Edward was placed on the shelf next to her. "I'm a rabbit," said Edward. The doll let out a squeak. "You're in the wrong place," she said. "This is a shop for dolls, not rabbits." Edward said nothing. "Shoo," said the doll. "Yeah, I would love to shoo," said Edward, "but it is obvious that I cannot." After a long silence, the doll said, "I hope you don't think that anyone is actually going to buy you." Again, Edward said nothing. "The people who come in here want dolls, not rabbits. They want baby dolls or beautiful dolls, such as myself. They want dolls with pretty dresses and dolls with eyes that open and close." "Yeah, well, I have no interest in being bought," said Edward. The doll gasped. "You don't want somebody to buy you?" she said. "You don't want to be owned by a little girl who can love you?" Sarah Ruth, Abilene. Their names went through Edward's head like the notes of a sad, sweet song. "I have been loved already," said Edward. I have been loved by a girl named Abilene. I have been loved by a fisherman and his wife and a hobo and his dog. I have been loved by a boy who played the harmonica and by a little girl who died. Don't you talk to me about love, he said. I know love. This impassioned speech shut up Edward's shelfmate for a very long time. Well, she said at last, still, my point is that no one's going to buy you. They did not speak to each other again. That doll was sold 2 weeks later to a grandmother who was purchasing it for her grandchild. Oh, yes, she said to Lucius Clark. Yes, I want that one right there, the one with the green dress. She's very lovely.
Oh, yes, said Lucius. She is, isn't she?
And then he plucked the doll off the shelf. Goodbye and good riddance, thought Edward. The spot next to the rabbit stayed empty for a long time. Day after day, the door to the shop opened and closed, letting in the early morning sun or the late afternoon light, lifting the hearts of all the dolls inside, all of them thinking that when the door swung wide open this time, the person who came into the shop would be the one who wanted to buy them. Edward did not think that. He prided himself in not hoping, not allowing his heart to lift inside of him. He prided himself on keeping his heart silent, closed tight. I am done with hope, thought Edward Tulane. And then one day at dusk, right before he closed the shop, Lucius Clark placed another doll on the shelf next to Edward. Oh, poor Edward. His heart has been broken so many times, he's actually given up. He doesn't care if anybody ever loves him again. He says, I am done with hope. He's done hoping that someone will care about him. He's done hoping for anything. He just wants to sit on that shelf forever. Do you think he's right to give up hope? If we feel pain in life, should we just stop caring about everything? What are your thoughts on that? That's a hard question. So, tomorrow we read the last 2 chapters of this book. I'm getting pretty excited to see what happens in the end. I hope you are too. I'm very glad to hear from you every day when you tell me what you think and when you reply to my questions. I appreciate it, and I can't wait to hear what you think about today's couple of chapters. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.